Good evening. Welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the Think Show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so called African American didn't find their way to America in the trunk of a ship. Question for today is, what if you were born today? Not what if you were born the year you was born, the day you was born, the season you were born. What if you were born today? What would you be like now? What would you be thinking like now? What if you were your parents? That's another colder way to put it. What if you were your parents? It's something to think about. But what if you were born today? How different would your life be? Would it be what the people are today? Would you fall into that? Or would you be a free thinker like you are now and think, hey, something's wrong? That's going to be the topic today. And think long and hard about it because who knows? In this whole reproduction scheme, you may be one of the souls coming in, one is going out. Joining me as always on my line is the Accomack Guardian, Miss Lisa Cypress. Lisa, how are you today?
Hello, Wangapo, Kayuk, all people. Good wishes to everyone. Good evening. How are you doing? How are you doing,
Well,
Carrie?
I'm doing great. We might be joined by a brother from the UK today. He
Mm,
might be in the chat. And
mm,
he's saying there's a lot of gang stalking by African Americans over in England. You
mm.
have a lot of African Americans siding with America on a whole bunch of stuff, not realizing that America was taken from them and they're following what their slave masters say. That's the typical African American black answer. See, a lot of African Americans and blacks like to forget that this area of the world wasn't colonized like the rest of the world. Now,
Mm.
what's going on in the rest of the world, they're not going with the West way of thinking and looking at things no more.
That's an
They're
interesting thing.
doing things their own way. Yeah, they're doing things their own way. What is that BRICS? BRICS is just one example of all these countries getting together and saying, screw America. We're going to do it our way. The African American and black never thinks of that. Never. They always gonna do it the way boss say do it. And he's saying over there, they're over there in England now. You got a lot of African Americans. You know, Negroes like to travel
Yeah.
and like to try to go stand up for America. They're standing up for the America that conquered them. So he's going to try to get here today. If he doesn't get here, we'll have him sometime because he said it's really vomitous what's going over there. But what if you were born today? How would you be different from what you are now? What you say, Lisa?
I say, to me, that was like, I had a discussion about, I don't even know, like, okay, so how did this, just to start out with me thinking, just how impactful the generations from the 20s through the 40s, late 40s, right? 50, 19, I will say 1920, 2025 to 1950. Okay. Those generations, those that were our parents that are of that age, right? Had things not gone the way they went, had the world been like it is now, for them, would totally change things for us today. All right. Because, first of all, let's just think about it. Okay. Today, we have all these immigrants. The generation from the 1920s to the 1950 didn't have that as well. The white folks were the daggone immigrants. You know what I mean? So they didn't have Negro. I'm not sorry. They didn't have anybody that wasn't Negro that wasn't really white. It wasn't even that many Hispanics up until that point. So basically, it was the Caucasians were the immigrants. And even for my generation, the Caucasians were the immigrants. So now today, the immigrants include all these other colored people from around the planet, other melanated folks or whatever. You got the damn Hindustans, the Bharats, the Africans of all varieties, and assortments of daggone Hispanic persuasions and Asian persuasions, right? You got all these different rainbows of people, color, different colors of people that weren't here. They were not a factor for the generation between 1925 and 1950. Okay, so what does that mean, and why does I say, well, what if you were born today? So for me, I would, whether you was born in the 80s, whether you were born in the 70s and the 60s, we were born in the 60s, because our generation, the generation that preceded us, had certain things going on, right? See, we take it for granted that we have a generation of 60s to 80-year-olds who had pensions or retirement, who was able to save stuff, who might have been able to get good jobs and, do certain things. Why did they have that? Why did they? I mean, not that we always haven't had stuff, but you got to understand of what we have done to really screw it up for the future, and how it's screwed up for the future. That's what I'm trying to get to. Because basically, people are like this. I got my gang, my pension, I got my retirement, doing whatever, I do what I want. Because everybody lives in like a silo. They live in like a little vacuum of what their life is, right? They don't be looking to the left and the right. And if somebody ain't got their shit together, you're like, oh, that's how you just messed up your finances. But you know what I mean? Not really thinking that, we got cousins and kinfolk who just can't get right. They can't get right for a number of reasons. They may be crack babies. I'm sorry, but they might be. They may be from parents that were somehow impaired, either physically impaired from birth or impaired for other reasons, addiction or crime or whatever. But they did not get an advantage, right? Meanwhile, you got all these Negroes, these Negro Indians, who have parents that during the a small, tiny era of time were able to come into these positions within companies. See, I was talking to some people. If my dad hadn't been able to get in with General Motors, how would that have changed my life? Because we were living in the projects, right? We had actually, what do I call it when you're pushed out? Not evacuated, but it was a exodus. We had a mass exodus from the Eastern Shore of Virginia in the 1950s that my father was a part of, right? And my brother, my mom. And it wasn't a wish. It was, people say, oh, they went for opportunity. No, that's a damn lie. People went before a lack of opportunity because they eat our people out of opportunities on their land. They did that because they didn't want them to stay on our land. They didn't want us to stay on our land, so they, did all kinds of stuff to oppress and to, terrorize us. That's why young men of 20 sought the big city because of the what was being done at the time. And then the thing is, like, even if you have your land, they try to they create these barriers to you to be able to utilize it, like you're supposed to. You understand. They make all these loopholes. Anyway, so my parents went to the daggone went to the projects in Harlem or whatever. What if there wasn't a little window of like, we'll say civil rights, or a little, whatever you want to call it. New York was a little bit more advanced than even New Jersey, because when he moved to New Jersey, he couldn't even work at General Motors there. They didn't want him. They were like, nah, you know what I mean? But see, this is the thing. A lot of guys, a lot of women had opportunities because we were the ones. We are the ones, right? We're the people, right? Now, fast forward to 2025, where you got all these other entities in the mix, and they're aggressive in the wrong way. They're ignorant in the worst way. They're disrespectful in the worst way, right? All of them are here because they're trying to get over. They're preying, they're predatory. They're trying to get everything they can get out of what's available in our country, right? Right? So they're trying to get everything they can get out of our country, but the ones that are born today, that's part of their competition. That didn't exist for the people born 25 to 1950. That was not a factor. So they were able to chill out. It was kind of cool. They could get stuff. They were nobody was like getting in the way of their opportunity. They were not being denied or squeezed out by other people competing against them, right? That's not the case if you're born today. If you're born today, you got not just these white immigrants, but you got all these other immigrants. And all these other immigrants are here not because the white immigrants want these other immigrants here. They are weapons. They are weaponizing immigration. Immigration is not because kumbaya, we want to save the world. No, it's not for that. It was never for that. It's always because we don't want these daggone engines getting nothing. So if there's anything to be got, let's give it to these people that we can always throw out. Let's give it to the ones that we can get rid of. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. What you got to say about
it? That's exactly how it happened. But what bothers me more so is that, from the dates you were saying, I think you said 1925 to now. So that's 1950 to now. That's 75 years. That's what, 3 generations?
No, I didn't go to now. I just stopped at 1950 because that generation of people really, they really didn't have any kind of, they had it. I mean, you could say, oh, it was, some Jim Crow. I mean, but actually they didn't have to compete against any foreign melanated people, because the melanated people didn't come until way after like 1980, really. You know what I mean? So we have to, those of us that are still in the workforce have to compete against them now. Those children that are born today, their whole world is totally different. Like, it's all part of a matrix. Damn, we got more movies about Hindustan people than they do about us. You know what I mean? It's like they're in more sitcoms and television shows than we are. And what window were we present? We just got a couple of years in the 80s that we ever had anything,
Yeah, but I don't mean that.
Okay.
I just meant is 100 years, 75 years, wherever you want to put it.
Yeah.
Us not understanding and looking at and watching what things happen and set ourselves up, set our children up to deal with it. That's what I mean. So all this stuff is what you said hit the nail on the head. What were the, I guess they were called colored or Negro at the time. What were they thinking while they were getting these jobs and getting these positions at IBM, Ford, or whatever? What
Mhm.
was that? What was that thinking like? They had to knew that life was going to continue and more children were going to come, and this immigration policy is being set up this way. Nobody said nothing. Nobody, like you said, looked to the left or right and said, hey, wait a minute.
Right.
Nobody noticed that all the
But the other thing
HBCU,
is, right. What is
no,
that about?
nobody,
The HBC
that's it.
are the ones that mostly go for it, right? Because that's where they sent the Ukraine people, and
Right.
the damn
But
kids to HBCUs. They the main ones pushing for these daggone and this immigration. It don't make no
okay,
sense.
so let's take the HBCU situation for a minute. Aren't
Mhm.
aren't all the HBCUs bought out?
Hell yeah. Well, some
Aren't
of them
all,
were brought out from inception, right? They were
right,
eugenic devices and Indian removal schools from inception, right? We got to understand that,
exactly.
right?
So if all those HBCU, I mean, and if you look at those people today, if you
Right.
look at people in the HBCUs, they don't have a clue on what's going on in the places where their mothers and fathers are from. And if they do have a clue, they don't give a damn. So this is what I'm saying now. If you were born today, how would it be for you? Or how would it be for your children? Or what steps are you going to take to even the playing field? Because these people that you call Black and African American, they're going to keep being used like toilet paper, like they've been being used. So so when Lisa brought up that point today, what if you were born today? Would you see things how you see it now? Would your parents see things how you see it now? Do your parents see things how you see it now? Because, like I said earlier, the rest of the world is tired of this Western bullshit that's going on. Guess who's the only people who's down with it? And when the rest of the world, gang up on the West, one face they're not going to forget is the so-called black man. Because remember, the black man has been right there hand in hand with his boss, just helping destroy the world like these Western powers have. So if you were born today, how would you see that? And we put the link to the chat in the chat, so we can hear what you have to say. Please come up and join us, please.
Well, I tell you what, the reality is that if you were born today, first of all, you wouldn't if you were born today, you would not have it set up like half of these damn baby boomers take for granted that they have it like. Because the reason they got it is because their parents didn't fucking have to compete with these motherfuckers. Okay? They didn't. So they was able to daggone do things like, oh, I got an annuity, I got a pension, I got this, I got a house, I got this. And so your damn lazy your sorry ass is set up because your daddy was at IBM and your mama was at Ford or whatever. You know what I mean? Your daddy was in the school system and your mother was in the daggone work for the damn state. Whatever. You benefited because they didn't have all these foreigners, these new foreigners to compete with. So that's why, yeah, I say, motherfucker, if you just depending on what you had done in your life and not what was carried on from the fact that your parents did some smart shit, half of these damn snooty ass Negroes wouldn't have daggone it's so good. And if you didn't have it so good and you had to take your ass to work and daggone was just wanting to daggone slit your throat every day, you would feel a little different about these damn motherfuckers. If you had to daggone still deal with them, you would feel a little different with them daggone acting all some kind of way in the workplace, and you getting passed over for daggone advancement over some daggone new tourist, new person on a damn visa or trying to get their citizenship. What the world are you talking about? You don't know what's going on because why? You have been sheltered from it. All these sheltered people that live in silos and they don't want to see left, right, or any other way. How can you be so sheltered?
If you look at where the
why you care about the damn immigration? Like that's a right. Like people got a right to leave their homeland and come here and take this. They want to fight you about it. They got a right to take our shit. Oh, well, let them come to your house and take your shit personally. But personally, I don't want them taking from me. Then, if you talk to them about their own family taking shit, they got a problem with somebody from their own family getting anything. But then they want to fight about immigrants taking everything, getting all the benefits, getting everything for free. Whole companies set up to defraud the government to give it to the new immigrants.
I mean, when they said you get to integrate with us, what did you think that meant? You get to think like us, you get to be like us, you get to do what we do, you get to speak how we speak, you get to be us. What the Negro did, and they still do it today, don't lie, they put everything about them on the back burner. They put all their morals, all their spiritual development, everything on the back burner so they could integrate with these people. And integration definitely means integrated your thinking, integrated your way of doing things, integrated your way of looking at the world, so much so that you don't even look at yourself in the world. And that's evident by you calling yourself Black, isn't it? You done blacked yourself out the talk of the world, being a part of the world, because you wanted to integrate and help set up the world that is set up now. Didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that what the Black African American did? So, like I said, we can't just look at the world from our point of view. We got to look at it from what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on in Africa, what's going on in India, what's going on where your parents are from. The average Black person don't even know that. I'm sorry, they don't know. They don't care. Long as they can get something from boss, right? That's how you roll it. And you're teaching your children to be the same way. Now, of course, this isn't everybody, because somebody say, hey, we ain't all. It's not everybody. But the majority, you won't even look at how you're being drugged. It don't matter if you have money or not, because it's really not your money, because you got it in somebody else's bank. Because you don't have no banks. And if it was in your bank, we'd be having a whole different conversation now. So if you were born today, I want to get some feedback from you guys, because we're having this talk a little later, and I like to get some ideas from you guys too, what you guys think about it too. If you were born today, would you have it like your parents have it now, or like your grandparents had it 40 years ago? How would you fit in? How would you educate yourself? Would you come up with a brand new way of education, or would you keep going with the same one that we have now, that we should have been out of?
The
I
gen
mean, go ahead.
sorry, the generation that that kind of made it so the next one, the ones who were born in the 50s and 40s and the 60s and the 70s, the ones that made it possible, laid the foundation for the next this one that just dropped the ball, because we definitely dropped the damn ball. It's pitiful because it's like they had a sense of family and community, right? That was very significant, right? They looked out for each other in a very personal way, right? And we have just like let go of it. The majority of us have let go of that completely. Like that's not even a thing, you know. And I just have the level of selfishness that I think has been cultivated by so many in this. When I just look around my world, I'm just like, y'all, like, get a clue. Get. It's like you. I mean, we have the benefit of seeing some of the magic work. Some of the people that was like a magic generation. We had the benefit of learning or seeing it firsthand. The fact that it's been abandoned, dropped to the ground, stomped on, kicked around, burnt down. I mean, you don't want nothing to do with thinking that you need to look to the left or right or care about it or I hate to use that word conscious, but just be cognizant of the fact that you know what, when I do buy this and I don't buy it from us, that affects us. When I do treat somebody that looks like me bad, it affects us. When I do act like, well, it don't matter who does this job for me as long as they're good. Yeah, you want somebody good, but the whole attitude that's prevalent that some other race is gonna be better or they got more advertising. I don't understand that. The advertising, that's the thing. Like we can't look. See, this is the thing. This is what's really crazy. When we didn't have a choice, we was looking for each other hard, right? Because we needed to find that good guy who's one of us to help get things done. Now we don't even put in the effort, and it's effortless. You just got to look through your phone, Google a little bit, check out some YouTube, whatever. You can find us if you want to for what you need. You didn't have to go ask 12 people and maybe travel through 4 or 5 towns. You didn't have to do that. You don't have to do that now. You could just look, just a little Googling, a little Facebook something post or something. You can find what you need in us, and it can be a quality person that is providing whatever. But the fact that we act like it's such a hardship. I just went with the best person. And we act like that's altruistic. That okay, I just go with the no, motherfucker. You have to take care of your people. Like that is important. Maintaining your people maintains the future. A child born today, they ain't got a shot at that because ain't nobody looking out at maintaining you. Nobody's trying to preserve you. No one's trying to make sure you got things all right for you in the future. That who's doing that? Who's holding that down? That's the scary thing about if you were born today. We got
Lisa,
somebody coming
yeah,
up.
we have Miss Baton Rouge Nora coming up. Miss Baton Rouge Nora, I have one question for you, and
Uh-huh.
this is for everybody who's from Louisiana. What was Louisiana called before Louisiana?
New Spain. That
No,
was one.
I don't know, but
Okay.
I know it's named after a French king or something. And I
Oh,
have I have a cousin in Louisiana who
uh-huh.
swears he's African. She has
Oh
no
no.
proof of it, but she just says it.
Abs-
And so one of the questions I asked her, I'm like, well, what was Louisiana called before
Oh,
Louisiana?
we were the Mississippians
I,
before they stole that, and then we were the Natchez before the in my studies and from my opinion, before the Indians from uh, Alabama and Mississippi linked up with the French, and also the Indians from North linked up with the French coming down the Mississippi and tried to attack the Natchez Indians, which we were the biggest and the baddest. So that's how we ended up losing, and half of us going to Haiti. So that's what we were called before, the Natchez and the Mississippians.
you see how you can learn, how we can all teach each other. All we got
There
to
you
do is
go.
ask.
That's
Oh,
right.
How,
yeah.
how you how you doing, Nora? What was your question?
Sure.
Welcome.
Well, oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No, I just said welcome from Gapa.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, this is my first time ever calling into a podcast. So,
Well, thank you.
Hey,
oh, yeah. So I was calling in because you guys had a question. What what would we be doing if we were born today in the situation we're in? Is that
Yes.
what the question was? So I think I'm in a good position to kind of answer this because I'm approaching 50. I'll be 50 in the next couple of months. And I have kids that range between the ages of 24 and 17. Um, and I went to HBCU. I'm the first person in my family to go to college. We were so proud to get those titles, but ended up getting my master's and my bachelor's degree at a HBCU. I worked in corporate America. Y'all keep mentioning IBM, did that. AT&T did that. All over the place. Moved to Kansas and did all that in corporate America. um, and also grew up in public school where I was labeled at one point, being ADHD. So that means you're retarded. You need to be in special ed. So I think, and also when it comes down to being foundationally American, that's me. I mean, nobody in my family remembers. And also based on my research, everybody's been here since before the Spanish came here, and also before some Filipinos came here during the galleons trade back in the 1500s with the Spanish into Natchitoches, Louisiana. Uh, Hence, that's probably why we got some people that look Asian and we ain't. Okay, we was black, short hair, and was been and tall and well proportioned. And the only well proportioned people I know is black people. I ain't never seen no well proportioned white person, no well proportioned Indian person. Nah. Okay, the only well proportioned people you gonna get is when you come to Baton Rouge, and we all well proportioned. So that's what I'm about to say. So I think I'm in a good position to ask the question, what would I be doing with all of this knowledge, with the ancestors' knowledge that I have? Um, I would definitely, and I tell my children this today, we're in two different environments, right? My environment, our parents, my parents, they just coming out of civil rights, which my mama will tell you that they did not want civil rights in Louisiana, in the black people, period, or whatever you want to call them. None of them want that. My mama, and I take pride in talking to my elders all the time, especially when they are around. I want to hear what they got to say, and I ask them questions. And one of the things that they tell me was they didn't want civil rights. Nobody wanted that, and to them was the worst thing that ever happened to them. And these people that's over 70, okay, I haven't found out one copper color, brown, black, whatever you want to call yourself, person that's over 70, that's in my family and other people that I talked to that said to me civil rights was the best thing that ever happened to them. The majority of them will say worst thing that ever happened. Worst thing that ever happened. They tore up our schools, it tore up our families, it tore up everything, right? So what I'm telling my children is you can't look at the way life happened to me because my parents was coming out of civil rights. Somebody was proudful and wanted us to hold hands with a bunch of people who didn't want to hold our hands. I mean, so, but it wasn't the people that was being, that this punishment was actually being afflicted on because they didn't want to hold no hands. Okay, but they were made to hold hands with a group of people who didn't want to hold hands with them, made to go into schools where they were excelling and were being encouraged, okay, and had the best of the best, the biggest and the brightest of our brain and our DNA. They were being encouraged in those environments, and they took the best teachers out of those environments, where, you know, and also took the best students, if you will, or the ones that was encouraging their sisters and their brothers out of those environments, and they put those people somewhere else, okay, in a school where, and they gave us their old sloppy teachers who don't care, who would look at, like I said, look at me and tell me, or tell my mama she needs to be in special ed. For what, baby? But that's neither here nor there. But them the kind of teachers we had, okay? The ones that didn't care, didn't know, and wasn't interested, okay? What they did was they came to school every day with an attitude, with their sorcery and their witchery, trying to put hexes on the kids to get them on the drugs that they done formulated so that we can tear up our community or go to jail. That's what they did, okay? So, when my parents, with this experience, their parents didn't get all the rights that they had. So their parents was sold a bill of goods to tell them, okay, go to school and education is the key. Because it was hidden from them and that's the way they thought it could go. Okay, so then our parents didn't get a chance to do that. So they told us, get education is the key. Okay. And so what we did, because, and I think I heard Miss Lisa say this before, we had family, we respect our family. We respected our grandmothers. We respected our family members. So if they say education is the key, even though you're going to school and the teacher making you feel bad about yourself and making you have low self-esteem or, and all this other stuff, we wanted to please our parents. So we went and did what they said to do, even though most of our parents did not have the opportunity to go to these, to go to school and to excel. Okay. All right. So we did exactly what they said to do, trying to figure out. And like you said, Miss Lisa, I'm going to tell you right now, we go into these jobs. I got an interview tomorrow in the pits of hell. But we go to these jobs. We get on these interviews. Are you on these jobs? And yeah, you're right. You got to compete. Well, let me just say this before I go there. So I ended up going to college at Southern University in Baton Rouge. Now, my degrees are in math. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, you can log on to Southern University's website in Baton Rouge, the HBC they say in the land, and go to the science department, and you're gonna be able to count the black people in the science department on one hand. The whole class full of, and it's been like this since the doggone 90s. I was always either 1 of 5 in the math department, 1 of 5, and I'm not talking about the entry level biologies and all that. I'm talking when you get into your major. Now, I'm at a HBCU, but everybody up in there indie. And they got an attitude, They claim they know how to do the work because they pairing up together, And then when you get to a point where you're like, okay, they said to get in groups, they ain't going to put you in their group. They like, nah, we came over here. We ain't in no group with you. So not only do you start facing this discrimination, if you will, at these HBCUs where your parents, you thinking that you're being disciplined, you trying to honor your family members and also show pride that your family member is moving on in this education. And as soon as you get to supposedly HBCU or wherever you're going, you the only one in these classes. And even if you at a HBCU, you could be the only black person or whatever person in there. Okay. What? And so now you get, go to Southern University website, go to the computer science department and go just start looking at pictures of the school. Now you're going to see black people on the website. Now, black people was made, most of our sisters and brother melanated people, and I know, and I'm trying to get away from saying black, but child, when they indoctrinate you, these sources know what to do. They not put something in your head that, shoot, it'll take the Most High to come down here and slap it out your brain.
Bring
Okay.
Negro back. Just bring the Negro back. The Negro
Yeah.
back.
Oh, I love Negro. Okay, I'll dance with that one then. So yeah, go log on the Southern University website. Go to the computer science department. You ain't gonna. First of all, you ain't gonna see no black teachers, Negro teachers in there. Okay, so and let me tell you, these people bringing their family members over in droves. And like I said, because I'm in math and computer science since the 90s, I'm telling you, that's who is in the class. One time I took a picture. And I know I'm going from topic to topic. But one time I took a picture. I was actually going back to get my master's at one point, collecting degrees for what reason? And that's something else I had to realize. I'm collecting all these degrees for what? The more degrees I get, I'm just intimidating these doggone people.
Woo.
They're like, wait a minute, girl, first of all, you black as hell. And then you talking about you got 7 degrees. What? No.
You beautiful. Yeah, but that you hit it. You hit it. Oh.
You are not getting these jobs. Now we're giving this to somebody else who we can trust, number one. And not that I want the job, but they know we're going to work 3 times harder. And the reason why we're doing it because we feel the pressure and we're the only ones in these spaces. So I got to show up and show out for the rest of us who ain't here. But showing up and showing out is intimidating to the devil. Okay. So what I'm telling, I'm sorry.
Being you, having your intelligence, being you is enough to intimidate the pants off of them. Okay.
And trust me, and they be and look, and I'm not even going into work trying to be. This last job I was on, I basically was like, look, I don't want. If you don't have to give me any responsibilities, I don't want to be. I just want a paycheck at this point because I got to survive. Okay, but as far as if I have to have any authority or responsibility, I'd rather just not have it because I'm like I said, I'm almost 50. I don't have time for you being intimidated because I'm just in the room. I don't have time for that. So since you got, and I don't tell them that, but this in my mind, since your self-esteem is low, don't give me no authority because if you can't handle what I'm about to say to get us from point A to point B, you say you want a problem solver and a process manager and an analyst, and when one show up, your mind blown because I can think from end to end. That ain't my problem. So give me the lowest, and so that's what you get when you get to be 50 and you got to deal with them. Don't give me nothing but the bottom of the barrel where you feel comfortable because I just want your paycheck. Okay, because I got bills to pay and all this other stuff right now. I mean, don't give me nothing where you're going to feel intimidated because I show up with a brain. Because you're going to make yourself sick. Don't do that. But what I was saying, one of the points that I was trying to get to, we are the only ones in these spaces. So you're trying to represent for the rest of the Negroes, okay? I'm trying to go up in there with the right mindset is, if we're a team, because I'm part of the tribe, if the tribe say we need to go here, I'm bringing in ideas, creativity. I'm bringing in the whole thing, the whole package, right?
Yeah.
But you can't do that. So what I've been telling my children is, it's time to come out the system, okay? And don't look at what mama and daddy was able to achieve because we was able to achieve these things under false pretenses. And also by getting into this world, you have to cancel yourself. And when you cancel yourself, you also cancel your ancestors, and you cancel who you are yourself. So you working under a low vibration and a low spirit. Okay, that is not good. They putting you in a mental state to go to these jobs to make a couple of coins, which you do not own, you're not responsible for. And at any time, when they see that you on top, the top that they put you on because they want your brain, like get out, they will immediately just cancel you out. Okay, so you are putting yourself on a mental state in order to survive in these spaces, and it's not good. And why are you doing it? For material value? Now, the material ain't there because they can make you lose it at any time. It's a setup. Well, what we should be doing is trying to figure out how to get back to the basics. What's the basic? Land. The stuff that they took in the first place. Get some land and get that back. Go back to what it said in Genesis and figure out, you already got a job. Our job was to take care of this earth. Okay, and also the birds and everybody else that's got to eat. Birds ain't even eating. They falling out the doggone sky because we sitting up here trying to go to the white man's job when the Most High already gave us something to do. Get over there and figure out how to plant, which I did. I ended up, before I lost my last job, I said, you know what? I'm going to the country. Forget this. Let's go. Okay. Get you some seeds, because we don't know what we're doing, because we didn't lost all that, but it's not forgotten. It's still down inside. So getting seeds, trying to figure out, make the mistakes now before they take all the crap away from us. Figure out how to work the ground, how to toilet, how to pay attention to it. I bought me 16 chickens. Okay. I'm from Baton Rouge. I don't know nothing about no chickens, and I'm close to the country, but wasn't that close. But figuring that out, like how to take care of these animals, how to figure out if they can sustain us. So what I'm telling my children is, get a skill, because when all this stuff fall down, you'll be able to barter and trade your skill. Okay. Now we might need one person to go to school and learn some medicine. Okay. Because that's natural. So one of y'all out of the three, one of y'all can go to college and become a doctor, and not this scientific sorcery. Go learn something natural. Like what can we use olive oil for? Okay. How do we use walnut? How you get the oil out of the thing? They got walnut oil. We eat the stuff, but we don't know how to get the oil out. Somebody needs to be trying to figure this stuff out, okay, before this shit goes to hell in a goddamn handbasket. Okay, so that's what I'm telling my children, is to try to cut. And all this stuff about don't understand your ancestry is stupid. When even an apple understands its goddamn ancestry, the seed know that it's got to turn to an apple. So how are we going to be so dumb not to understand our ancestry when all fruits, animals, and trees understand their ancestry? But here we go. They didn't trick us to tell us that trying to figure out who your grandmother was and your great-grandmother and what they put into you, what came up out of them, you're supposed to forget that. And I'm not saying worship them, but at least tap into who you are, like an apple with an apple seed. They know whether to turn green or red. We don't. We think we black. Okay, so that's all I'm saying, and that's what I'm telling my children today. If I was born today, I would hope I have a parent that's in the middle, 50 to 55, 60, that woke up from the truth and able to tell me education is not all that, because it's fake news anyway. They setting you up. Try to figure out what's natural and what the Most High gave us to do for work, and then go work it. If one person needs to go out, and then that's another thing. Everybody can't go out. Some of these kids ain't wise enough to go out. And if we was in a tribe, we wouldn't send the child out that don't even know how to get back home. No, you got to send the child out that's been groomed enough to know how to take the damn shots. Okay, you send the strongest child out, because you know the strongest child gonna come back with whatever you put in it. Okay, and bring that back over here to the tribe so we can figure out how to use it. And that's how we need to operate. Right. So that's what I'm telling. If I was born today, I would hope somebody that went through it. Okay. And was able to, and was able to see both sides. Okay. And was able to help me gather what I need and to harness what is needed for tomorrow. And as far as education, no. I'm spending all my time as a 50-year-old trying to rewind and throw up all the stuff that I done learned for 50 years. So all the degrees are trash. All the history is trash. It's just trash. I just spent 3 weeks trying to figure out how in the world did the Philippines, the Filipino, get into Natchez, Louisiana. And when I found out how they got here, I was just disgusted. And I'm like, well, that's the hell reason why we got Asian looking people. Well, what that was in the history. So that's what I'm telling man. And I'm
Baton Rouge, Nora. Okay,
yes.
So when I say the black man, African American, don't know nothing about nothing, you're not what I'm talking about. That's what I mean. Some people get it.
Yeah.
This is
Well,
right.
guess what? I'm the only one. I'm the only one in my family that get it. They all think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
The whole
But
family think I'm crazy.
right. That's how most people who seeing things how they are or what's going on, the people who think like that, their family do see that because their families are the one who fell into this trap that's killing us. And
Right.
like I was saying, and like I was saying, a brother from England contacted me today and saying the African Americans over there are putting down black people
Hmm.
here, saying that America's the best. We rule the world. It's like you
Hmm.
don't rule anything, Negro. You
Hmm.
don't. We integrated into something, and now when we ask the question, "How's it going?" Nobody says anything.
Well, they know how it's going. Awful. You know, and that's another thing. We need to be able to be, because this whole thing is traumatic. Okay, and to be honest with you, it wasn't. I only woke up to my grandma. Listen, like I said, I'm from Baton Rouge. Okay, we've been the savages. I mean, they never stopped calling us no savage. So it was, if you're from Louisiana, okay, and you don't know that you're from this place, I mean, you really are brainwashed. It ain't too many people you're gonna run into especially from Baton Rouge or somewhere like that. Okay, and you don't tell them, because see, we don't even think we are part of the regular America. And I don't know, it's because we was the last ones besides Hawaii in this thing. But Louisianans, especially if you're from New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, or Opelousas, we already know we ain't a part of the United States, and we don't even care. Okay, we don't eat what everybody else eat. We ain't thinking the way everybody eat. We consider ourselves a gumbo, and half of us French, half Spanish, half and we all know we Indian. So there's not too many black. Now some of them have bought into we African, but you ain't gonna find too many black people from South Louisiana that's gonna claim no, we all came here over a ship. Because for most of us, we already know slaves ain't get to Louisiana if you're gonna pick up some until it's like 1730 or 1750. Okay, so you're gonna dodge us with that. Okay, no, we was right over here in them plantations that y'all then went on ahead and kidnapped and made us a sharecropper on our own god doggone land, because you came over here with this trickery talking about borrowing some money, talking about you want this shiny thing. And yeah, we do like shiny things over here. Okay, we was a fool for the spinners and everything. Okay, and the gold, because we ghetto, we savages, like they say. Oh, we gonna ratchet it. Okay, so everything them little rappers be saying, that's us. We ain't gonna miss, we ain't dodging none of that. Okay, but we already knew we was the doggone people. So we ain't like these people from other places. We just came over here on the boat. We know that it wasn't until 17 something that y'all tried this trickery. And with the way y'all tricked us was coming over here trying to trade something with us, and we didn't understand the language that you're talking about. Okay, we over here all just trying to hang out and do some rain dancing and doing our little dances that we like to do over here and been doing. Okay, and then you over here talking about, well, you want this, and we like, well, how much? I mean, what we got to trade for it? And then before you know it, y'all done got us into y'all little trading system, and we can't pay y'all back like we do now. And then now they up there talking about this fake bankruptcy they had back then, and now you done took our land. That's how we got into this. And now you done took my grandma, the chief house. That's what you done did. And the rest of us out here talking about we sharecropping. And that's why when they said go, we like, we ain't go, where we gonna go? When I step on the levee of the Mississippi, so, I mean, I can't even control my flesh. I mean, something else is coming out of me. Okay, and so no, we knew we'd been here, and our grandparents been told us from day one, don't trust white people, they lie, and we've been here. Now you have to battle with that in your mind, with the teacher telling you that you're a slave, and after watching Roots, you don't know what to do with it. Okay, and then you go take these DNA tests, which I'm like. And I'm like, we got to realize that the same person who made the DNA test is the same person who invented the shots. That's the same person who invented this indoctrination at school. Is the same person who lied about everything. So why in the world would they tell the truth about one thing and they lying about 10,000 other things? But we have to realize that we've been going through trauma. We in trauma, and we have to also understand that we are a part of a generational generational trauma victims. And like myself, it wasn't until after COVID when I had a traumatic incident that happened in my life where I had to sit down and start thinking. The first question that was I asked myself was, who is Nora when I was going through this trauma? Okay. And Nora is my nickname that my family members call me. It's not my real name, but it's my nickname, right? So I had to say, well, I don't want to know who this lady is who got these degrees and these children and all this. I need to go to, if they gave me this nickname, whoever gave it to me know who I am. So I had to start addressing who are you and where did you come from? Okay, but it all stemmed from me experiencing a trauma personally to wake up the other traumas that was going on in my environment all over the world. Like Indigenous one said, I had to start realizing this is a worldwide trauma I'm in, you know? And so that's what sparked me to wake up is what, you know? And so that's what we got to do. We just got to wake up and realize everything. And, you know, first step is admitting that they all lied. Okay. It's going to hurt. You're going to be depressed like I was. You're going to be hurt. You're going to feel like everything was tricked from church to education. Okay, and your parents, and you can't fault them because they was tricked. Okay, but go ahead and, I mean, if you want to throw some blame on them a little bit, you can do that. Okay, also you can work yourself to the surface so that you can breathe to realize, okay, let me see where to go from here. And something else that I did that I would advise everybody to do, I listen to everybody, but I don't believe everybody. Okay, now remember, I'm an analyst. I listen to everybody, but I don't believe everybody. So I started off by listening to these, I don't even know what you call it, the African, well, I don't know, pride people. Okay, started listening to them because they do have a bit of history, a bit of truth. Okay, then I started listening to the Hebrew Israelites. They got a bit of truth. Then I started listening to I just started there. I just started listening because I had to unwind. I listened to the Muslims. I was listening to everybody. Okay, but I had to listen to them so I can unlock whatever the truth was. And I started saying, well, I'm going to start with what they're saying, and then I'm going to peel back all the layers so I could figure out what the hell is going on here. Okay, and then how I got back to the indigenous side, that's when Nora started tapping into what did your grandma, and I knew my great grandma. What did these people say? Okay, you remember them holding you? What was the touch? What? Come on, bring it out. Then I started grounding myself, and they say don't look in the sun. So everything they say don't do, I do. I go out there, and as dark as I am, I'll be looking right up at that sun and saying, energize me. Let me know what you're thinking. Tell me what it is I'm supposed to be feeling. You know, I had to go back to the ground, to the earth. Okay, so I'm doing all those things. So I would say too, don't be afraid to listen to everybody, not to agree, but so you can figure out what the hell is going on. And that's it.
Well, Nora, thank you for that. Thank you for that share. And it reminds me of a sister from Louisiana that I met. She's passed on now, but she was like, well, how do I know that my people are indigenous? And I just said, well, ask your people, ask your mother and father, what did they do coming up? Well, she asked her father. Her father said, well, we used to go fishing without no fishing pole. Who does that sound like?
Right.
And that's how she found out. And she left a lot of gems for her children before she passed off. So you remind me of her. So, thanks.
Well, Louisiana strong.
Please visit us sometime, all the time.
I will. Okay, thank you. Well, and I just found out about your channel yesterday. I watched something that you had on yesterday, I think. And so yeah. So now I'll be catching your feeds going forward.
Okay, Nora. Thank you for hanging out with us today.
All right. Okay, bye-bye.
Hey, appreciate you.
So what you think about that, Lise?
That was fire. That was awesome. She had some really, really good, information she was sharing. Very
so
cool.
So the thing she was saying is a lot of the stuff that we say all the time.
Yeah.
She's been through this.
But it's very fascinating, and I could have gone on with it because I found it the whole thing fascinating with the fact that you've got these schools inundated with these other entities, these melanated foreigners that are like snubbing their noses in our own so-called schools, right?
Right.
You feel like an oddball. You feel like oddity. And then the other thing, and I also wanted to get, I kind of cut, like I said, I could have talked to her for a lot longer, but I also thought it was fascinating because of the math and the fact that when we were teaching when we were teaching with our methods, right? Not controlled by these hateful entities, right? These entities that are at war against us are teaching us, right? So before, when we were self-taught, the way we learn, we had all these women calculating all kinds of stuff in Virginia and doing all kinds of space stuff because we were experts in math. We had people in the 1700s that were math experts that are recorded. And that's what they're willing to let us know, right? They're willing not to hide. They hide most of it, most of the truth about us. So the fact that we had people that were expert mathematicians in the 17 and 1800s, and here we are, we've got people snubbing their nose at us in our own environment, and that area that is really, we really have it. We're excellent at so many things, but we are definitely expert at math. So the fact that she's expert at math, and the fact that you have to compete with all these other like prejudiced people that are new people, new immigrants to our territory. That is crazy. It's so freaking disheartening. But see, the people that don't get it are the people that live in silos. The people that get all their information from what they hear from the eugenics driven media, right? The media that is at war against us. So if you're listening to a media that's at war with us, the information that you're going to learn about yourself is going to contradict you. It's not going to build you up, and it's not going to inform you. So, I mean, it's crazy. So, I mean, the fact that people don't appreciate, and I'm so glad she came on and she talked about, just like the competition of having to deal with these other people and the few, being one of few. Because I relate that in the healthcare field. I relate that in nursing. And I'm like, people don't get it, especially people who, first of all, may not have had to compete because of when they were born, right? And people that just didn't have to compete because of, really, it's because of when you were born. Because right now, that's what the world is. Like, if you're out of the game, you don't know what the game is now. So that's why I say, what would they do if they were born today? Because it is a different game now. And a lot of folks just can't relate to it. They can't relate to it. They can't relate to a lot of things, because a lot of people that was born very early, they didn't even have to pay for school, right? Hell, I made money going to school, and I'm not talking about what these children are doing today, like getting loans and then using the loan money as income. No, the grants were so big and the cost of school was so affordable that your grant not only paid for school, it paid for clothes, it paid for books, it paid for you to have some extra things at the house, buy some cool things at the house. It was a windfall when you went and got your grants to go to school. You would get a windfall in the 80s, okay, in 70s, I guess, assuming that too. I don't know, but that's the thing. So I mean, now these people, and then she talks about going to school. A lot of times, right now, you continue going to school. Why? Because if you stop, they're gonna hit you with all the damn money. You have to start paying it, right? So if you stop going, you gotta pay. So what people do, a lot of people keep going because shoot, I can defer, I can put off that payment time. It's ridiculous what a debt trap they have made education become. It's another mechanism, another weaponization against the Negro Indian. That's what it is. It is weaponized. They weaponize education in so many ways, financially, socially, emotionally, just everything. It is weaponized against us. So, but what we need to do is like we can be help. We can feel excited that there are people that are actually looking and wanting to think about this. You know what I mean? I really appreciate that there are people that want to have this conversation, because a lot of people, they just turn off. They don't want to think about it. They rather look at they rather play pickleball or whatever the world, anything, but think about what's going on in the world today and how that's impacting us, and where are we, and what can we do about what's going on right now to change tomorrow? How can we impact that? And I really did appreciate that Nora was like saying stuff like, okay, well, this is where I'm telling my kids. I'm telling them that college is not everything, and there's other options. And I love the way she also mentioned the part about everybody ain't fit to be out in the world. See, that's the other thing. A lot of us are so daggone stuck in our silo that we think, well, I got it together, or if they can't get together, I don't know what to tell. I'm like, baby, I got kinfolk that can't get right. Okay? I know everybody does. But I don't think everybody wants to consider that certain people can't get right. Okay? They just can't. Like I said, whether it's because of the whatever, childbirth issues or whatever, impairments of other sorts, they can't get right. So what's to become but let me tell you something. We all have a purpose and a meaning and a gift to share. And just because they're not the ones that need to be out there in the world, fisticuffing with these daggone demons, so be it. Everybody ain't for that. Everybody ain't to be the ones that's out there fisticuffing with the demons. I'm a demon boxer. That's what I do. That is my mission. I fight demons. That's my job. That is my life mission. I do that. That's not for everybody. Okay? No judgment. You can't judge it. Everybody got a different job. But then I got kinfolk, and their job is just to be. And their job is harder than mine. Why? Because their job is to tolerate the demons, to take the blows of the demons, to not respond to the blows, to you know what I mean? To endure. They endure and they keep our place and our homeland. And I friggin' appreciate that. So when people say to me, well, what are you gonna do if you win all this stuff back and people want to have money and they expect to have all the, I say, you know what? My people deserve whatever we get, because everybody got a job to do. Everybody has a job to do, and their job is going to be different than my job. But I appreciate the people that are there on the Eastern Shore enduring, that are there on the Eastern Shore tolerating those demons, that are there on the Eastern Shore holding our place down, because those people are important. Okay? I might be litigating and daggone and sparring with these demons to try to push them back off of our land and send them back packing where they come from. But they are doing the job of actually enduring and dealing on the day-to-day. And that's a powerful thing. So when people question, well, everybody ain't helping you, nobody's helping you, they're helping in their way. Understand, everybody got their thing to do. But until we start opening up our minds as to appreciating each other better and understanding that we have to understand each other's gifts and understand each other's assignments and respect them for what they are. That's all I'm saying. You got to respect everybody for what they have to offer. And it's like we only value what, you know what? It's like we've taken on so many of these European, and I don't know about this brother talking about Western values, because I think that's bullshit. And the guy from whatever Africa from the UK, I think that's some bullshit, because there's no thing as wet. There's no such fucking thing. I'm sorry, but what is Western values? That is not a thing. Okay, it's not a thing. You know why it's not a thing? Because England and the United States, it's not fake states, and whatever, Spain and France, and they're all in cahoots. So how is it a Western mentality? Everybody tries to talk like the West, so-called the Indians, right? Because it's not a British lingo that people are trying to mimic. It's the Algonquin influenced language that we speak, right? They try to imitate us. So these Western values of let's take everybody's stuff, let's daggone control everyone, let's lie to them, that is not indicative of just these demons. You got the same demons over there in England. They doing you worse. What are you talking about? How dare you act like you talk about anybody? You deal with the damn mother load of demons. Those people did their own friggin' people dirty. They ran their own white folks off of their own damn land. What are you talking about?
I think what they're talking about when they
workhouses, they do all kinds. They didn't start educating people in England until the 1960s. What the hell is that dumbass talking about? I wish he would come on the live. That doesn't even make no sense.
I think what he's talking about, he's not talking about us over here being Western. He's talking about what the rest of the world, China, India, all these other Africa, they're calling it Western when they're talking about Europe. Those are talking points from them. I don't think
that makes sense.
America's not part of Western. They were dominated by the same people. And what he's saying is the same people that dominated us or colonized us here in America, they colonized Africa, they colonized India, they colonized China. And they're saying that Western, that European is the West compared to where they are. I don't think it's a talking point for us.
Everybody is in on it all together anyway. Okay, that's the real. I mean, they're all. That's what it's really, and that's what. And this whole country is just a petri dish of all those nations. It's really not United States. It's like almost united, Europe, united Europe and America, and that's sitting here on Turtle Island. That's what it is, because that's what it is from the whole 1776. They came here in droves. They pushed. They're going destroyed and bombarded the indigenous people here. And then everybody splits the proceeds, and they still split the proceeds to this day.
No, I'm right. That's exactly what happened. But I think those talking points come from people that live in the world. Like I say, China, India, Pakistan, Africa, all those are looking at the Europe, Germany, whatever up there as the West. I don't think America is into that. I think it's just a satellite that they set up on and conquer like they did the rest of the world. But when they talk about the West, and yeah, they're part of it too. They're into it and want the spoils that they get too. But I think our view of it, that's what we integrated into, to think like them, to be like them, to be them. I mean, that's what I get when they talk about the West, because the West, America's not doing nothing but what it's told to do by the West. The indigenous people over here,
I,
South America,
I
Mexico.
I think they're all. I think everybody's all together. There is no central thing, and I think if you want to call anything central, it would be this daggone company that they formed here to steal from the indigenous Americans. You know what I mean? So I mean, that's the center point. Because if you look at England, they really didn't. They was broke. They were broke a lot of the time, and very late, like into the 1800s. They still was struggling, trying
Right.
to trying to intermarry and mix with the rich Americans. So they
Right.
really didn't have anything going on. So this whole who has what, you got to look at who did they consider to be the most powerful country. They consider it to be this, but it really is because that's where the money bag is. That's where the corporation that everybody feeds off of is located, is here, right? Everybody feeds off this thing, you know. And it changed the world because the entire rest of the world was in pure poverty, fighting each other all the time, dying very young. I mean, we saved the planet, and what do we got to show for it? We saved them. Literally. We still are. We still are. We still are saving the planet. And that's why they work so hard to keep us in this whole matrix of confusion where we don't know what our rights are, where we don't know who we are, where we don't know what to do about it. And we're either too discouraged or too distracted to do anything about it. That's what they got going on.
What are we distracted by?
Everything. Phones, food, gossip, sports, sex, bad music, drama, just everything. Everything is used to distract us. Misinformation, greed, materialism, shopping, everything.
Well, now that you put it like that,
Everything. Yeah.
Nora, Nora says everything.
Absolutely everything. I mean, it's a lot. It's hard for us to be focused on what we're supposed to be focused on because everything is a distract, and it works. It works because you talk about ADHD or whatever, honey. That's like part of being indigenous. That is our fatal flaw. If we have one, we got a lot of superpowers we haven't redeveloped. But if you want to know the fatal flaw of us, is that we, after it happens, we forget about it. After, we put things in a rear view quick.
Real,
Huh?
real quick.
Put it in that rear view mirror, please. Put it back. No, I ain't think about that. I ain't gonna think about. You ain't gonna make me think about that. We don't want to think about it. We don't want to think about it. We put that out of our heads, honey. We put it in our heads.
Yeah, but I think it's time that we look at, of course, we look at what's going on here, but remember this, what we call the United States of America, these Western powers or whatever, they did what they did here to the rest of the world too. And I think it would be advantageous to us to look at what the rest of the world is doing because, they did the same thing to us and take some cues for what are they doing. And one of the things that they're doing, they're linking arms to fight against these demons. And I'm seeing at the same time what we're doing, we're fighting it against each other as these demons are linking arms. So that's one of the things that we ought not be doing.
Yeah.
Dark Knight asks, are Accomack a part of the U.S. designation for freedmen?
We really predate that, if that even makes any sense. That's kind of weird. But see, because we are such an early people that had such a big kingdom and such a huge territory, they erased us so early that that's why I say we kind of predate that freedmen thing. Although we do have people on freedmen rolls, we do have people on like associate with the Freedmen Bank and all that kind of stuff. So we do have that. That is there. But like I said, they did such an early job of trying to stamp us out because of us having such a powerful history that they wanted to erase, and they changed our name a couple of times. So that's why I say we kind of predate it. But then again, we do have people that I know, because I have family members that are on like have like Freedmen funds or Freedmen kind of things, you know. So I do see that in the genealogy. So, but not to a large degree.
And so, Dark Knight, another thing, you know, and Lisa brought this up earlier, you know, we have to remember that the United States is a corporation. It came way after the indigenous people here. It came way after the Accomax. It came way after the Chitimacha. It came way after the Lettahatchee. These are corporations set up telling you what to do. Unfortunately, the people who call themselves African American and Black, they don't look at it like that. They look at what the new corporation comes over and says and go with what they say.
Right.
They don't look at what was before the corporation. Black people don't do that. They do whatever boss tells them to do.
Right.
Period.
But see, that's the thing. That's the hard part. Breaking our own habits, right? Taking ourselves out of our own habits. That's the difficult part, because our habit is to conform and comply, right? We're taught that from the sitting in pre-K now, before kindergarten, but now they want us before kindergarten, right? They want to get us programmed to comply and to obey and conform, right? But the reality is, the only way that we can actually regain and sustain ourselves into the people and to the nations that we are is to not conform, because we are not consenting people, right? So this is what I'm going to say, y'all, because I really haven't talked about this, and I keep saying I'm going to do more lives. I'm going to do them. I can't. I have a lot of time. I'm fighting a lot of shit. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that your girl, they have a warrant out for my arrest. Okay. Now, let me say that I decided to not consent. And what I mean is, they've been prosecuting me for about a year in Northampton County, Virginia, for claiming our Accomack land. It's a quick claim. It's claimed based upon our patented land, giving our patented land to us. We're the grantors and the grantees. It's perfectly right. However, they're trying to criminalize it. Why? Because they want to stop this forever. They want to scare me into submission, and anybody who looks at me better be scared to claim their land or claim their daggone rights to get anything back. Well, I say poppycock. So I have decided I have a trial. I have a trial date that's scheduled for the 8th and 9th. I have told them in advance. They gave me a plea deal by email, talking about, oh, we'll drop 50 of your 51 indictments, and you got to promise not to claim any kind of property in court unless we give you right to it. I'm like, what? Yeah, right. That's what this is all about. It's all about the land, man. So, of course, y'all, I cannot comply with that. So I told them, look, babies, you played with me enough for a year. I thought maybe there was a little bit of justice there, but there's none. Y'all just want to torture me. You just want to slow walk me to a lynching. You're just trying to terrorize me into stopping what is right for us to do. And I will not consent to that. I cannot. First of all, you never have authority over us. You never will have authority over us until we just have to act like we know what we know and that they do not have authority over us. So I'm acting the act and walking the walk. So I said, no, thank you to your daggone plea deal. And oh, coincidentally, that thing going on in July won't be making it because I don't consent, because you are a state, which is really nothing to our nation. We don't recognize you. Okay. We don't recognize any of this, right? We don't. And we don't have to because we predate you. So I don't recognize your court and I don't recognize this trial. And I will not consent to attending. Thank you, but no thank you. So when I said that, that was like last month. He promptly sent a email notice saying there's a hearing in like 5 days, and I don't even live there, so that's interesting. I'm supposed to get there in 5 days, and then the other parts, that same page on the next caption was motion to revoke bond, and I'm like, oh, you want me to come to a hearing in 5 days, and then you want to revoke bond and arrest me right there? Well, the trial is not till the 7th. Why are you creating a hearing that I can miss so you can revoke bond now? That's dirty. And you just gave me a plea deal where you knocked out all the indictments except one and was going to give me probation and that be it. And then I can't claim any land no more. That was so because I didn't take the retaliation for me not taking the plea deal is, oh, you're going to revoke bond and put a warrant for my arrest, and then you're going to create you playing games. You playing games with my life. So
I have a question. So this court that you're going up against, this court that are making all these claims against you, when is their start date?
When is their start date? When is their start date in life, in the world, and what they claim their start? See, we can't even go by that, right? Because they lie all the time.
Okay, so okay. But when do they say their start date? When do they say their start date is?
You know why we know it's not their start date? Because we see who's in the records. So they claim their start date is because the earliest records go back into like the 1620s, right? But in the 1620s, they would starve and they couldn't even feed themselves. So how are they organizing a court? They wouldn't. They couldn't. They couldn't even live. They couldn't survive. They was damn starving and they was warring against us. So no, that didn't even happen. But then you also look at the court cases, and the cases are Johnson's and us fighting each other over stuff and telling each other and slaves that we try to, the Johnson case and all this kind, and who's going to be chief and who's not going to be chief, and why ain't they paying me my tribute? That's what was going on. So it was us Indians that started the court. It was us that had that system where we represented ourselves in court, and everybody had an equal right to represent themselves. That was our establishment. The judicial system was ours. And
so how do they come along and just say what they say goes if you were there set up all along?
What'd you say? How do they do what?
So how do they just come in and tell you what to do and they came after you? How does that happen?
It happens just like whatever happens today. Like how did these daggone foreigners come in here and all of a sudden snub their nose at us? First of all, we welcome them, right? Come on to our schools. Come on. Oh yeah, you can have this job. Why not? Why can't he? And you got your own people fighting you because Indians are ridiculous. Because they're ridiculous. They're ridiculous at being all lovey-dovey and chummy-chummy. And it's stupid. We got to stop this shit. It's part of us. That's another. I'd say the fatal fraud was the ADHD, but no. It's also this lovey, yummy stuff. that lubba dubba dubba stuff, that yeah, lick them in the mouth stuff. That is a problem too, because that's what
I
we want.
love you, Mama.
We just want to love everybody up. Everybody gets a piece of us. Everybody gets a piece of what's up. I mean, I know we are people of abundance. That's true, and we have an abundant spirit. But now, this is the detrimental thing that happened. We are a people who have a history and a power of being under the abundance of the universe and knowing it and manifesting that. Under this regime, we have become a people of fear and scarcity. That's what these demons like to manifest. Scarcity and fear. Okay? So now you got these abundant ass people that can manifest abundance, that used to live with the spirit of abundance, we now got this daggone spirit of fear and lack, right? Fear and lack. So now, who are the people that we don't want to share with? We don't want to share with each other. But we still want to give all these weirdos everything we got. So that has to stop. That's how we lose. Scarcity, exactly. Scarcity, lack, right? Fear, all of that. That thing, you know what? That gets in your spirit. And it is so detrimental, right? Oh, it is the worst. And that's what they live. That's why they live like. That's why they fight me so hard, y'all. Because they're just sure that when we take our land back, they ain't gonna be able to survive because they live under this cloud of scarcity, fear, and lack themselves. That's all they have. That's what motivates them. That's what gets them going. That's what makes them so perverse and so greedy. That's what makes them so evil and so hateful. Anything to stave off that scarcity, lack, fear, greed.
So she's giving you a glimpse of what these children today, I'm talking about the ones that are in the womb now, got to know. This is yours. This is your inheritance that these people are trying to take, trying to say that it isn't yours, but it's right in your face, it's right in your hands that it is yours. Got to do is ask the questions, know what questions to ask. They're lost, you guys, and support this sister by doing what she's doing. But now I realize that many of you are immigrants from other places. But if your mama's mama, the earth is connected to the woman. Why? Because the women bear the fruit, just like the earth bears the fruit. The man's job is to protect and maintain the fruit. The women bear the fruit. The indigenous women from America, what is happening to her children? And what are her children doing? Like Lisa said, licking everybody in the throat. If it don't stop, your children don't stand a chance. So that's it for me, Lisa.
I'm good too. Well, this is what I'm saying is that, sacrifices have to be made. We just got to start in our minds. And I appreciate everybody who came to the live today, because that's where it all begins. You just thinking differently, just opening yourself up to thinking differently. That's powerful, man. And I commend you, and I appreciate y'all so much just for that, because you know, that may not seem like it's a lot, but that is a lot. It is a lot because so many people are refusing to do it. They're staying in their silos, right? They just want to be in a little circle and stay in their little hole, you know. So I appreciate that, you guys, and that's basically it. Yeah. I'm a fugitive of justice. I am not going to attend. I do not consent. They do not have authority. And I'm rocking this out. I have a lot of cases going on. I'm se juris suing, and I don't know, I guess it's like 11 cases now because I just got word that they sued me in another civil case on the Eastern Shore. So yay! And you know what? I actually, and y'all, I'm saying yay, and it's not even facetious because it shows how ignorant they are. Why in the hell would you add more evidence to the RICO by filing another civil case? You dummies. Like, their own desperation, their own lies, it's forming quicksand for them. They are sinking fast with their own stupidity and lies. It is upset. My cousin called me and he was like, yeah, they got a notice on your door. You got something in the mail. Should I open it? Yeah, just open it, man. Just open it. It's either the warrant or whatever. It's another civil case, y'all. Another civil case a year later. Oh, isn't that lovely? From the same team of idiots. Like, okay, y'all already got a bunch of people going to jail for fraud. I guess y'all about to send some more to jail. And all these other hicks that are involved with you, they can go to jail too because they're gonna round y'all up. Y'all got a lot of money that y'all taking over that the government would like to take back. When they send your asses to jail, they gonna benefit way more than anything that could happen to me. Because y'all some big fish to take to jail. Okay? You think they don't want to? Yeah. I wouldn't push your luck, but yeah. So that's what's happening, baby. Thank you, y'all, for being behind me. Thank you for watching the live. Thank you, my dear Carrie, for having me on here. I appreciate you, the Indigenous One. And y'all remember to like, share, and subscribe on both the channels, Indigenous One and Indigenous One and Guests. And look for me if I ever get a free moment. Now that I got 11 cases that I'm suing in, I will try to go live. It's just that I spend a lot of time writing. But okay, y'all take care. Peace.
Listen, this is how it is. It's like you telling your mother that she can't be at a certain place, and she's the one that gave birth to you. Same kind of concept, y'all. And it's that we have to start thinking like that. Just not believe anything anybody says. So, like Lisa said, thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight, and we'll see you guys later on in the week. Peace.